Hello, manga and anime lovers. I'm Branch, and today I'm going to be talking about Too Many Losing Heroines, Episode 11. Whoa, I was wrong that we were done with Komori's story. I thought the last episode was the end of it, but no, this is the end of it, and I like it because the last episode did have a sort of conclusive fail to it, but not really. There were still some loose ends, and this episode really displayed how many loose ends there were that I forgot about or didn't even realize. Now, really, there's a lot of stuff that happened, but the crux of the entire episode was Nukumizu and Komori's relationship and their friendship and how they were not being as good for each other as they could be. See, the problem with Komari is that she is trying to take on everything by herself. She is trying to take on the president's role and trying to do everything her own because she believes she has to put her senpai at ease before they leave. And I was wondering the entire duration of this arc why Nukumizu wasn't pointing out the obvious, and that no, that's stupid. You don't do everything by yourself. Everyone has to have someone help them. You can't do things on your own. That the only people who do that are failures. And he didn't. And it's because I really was not at all getting Nukumizu's character. Nukumizu is a character who does well with people, but is also perfectly content to be alone. And so he was not realizing that Komori's problem was not that she was trying to do everything by herself, but that she didn't want to do everything by herself, but felt that she had to. And so that's the reason he kept trying to dissuade her from speaking at the student council meeting, presenting their club's report, because he believed, oh, well, since she's having such a hard time doing it, she really shouldn't be doing it. It'll just cause her more stress. Not realizing that she was putting all of her relationships on the line for this presentation in her head. And so when she couldn't do it, inevitably, because she didn't have that much time to practice and she wasn't relying on other people as much as she should have been, it all comes crashing down. And then Nukumizu tries to intervene in one of the most painful scenes of the entire series so far, and one of my favorites. This entire student council meeting is amazing in terms of drama. But Nukumizu tries to intervene and claims that he is the president of the literature club. And then this causes a tremendous fight. And I remember reading a comment where somebody said, now Nukumizu knows what it feels like to be on the inside of what happened between Anna and her childhood friend at the cafe at the very beginning of the episode, where they had a huge fight. Well, not really a huge fight, but a whole drama thing happened. And then Nukumizu was witness to it. And he was just like, take it somewhere else. Well, he's done something 1,000 times worse. He has brought drama into a meeting, and now he has to stick it out because now he is the president. And I like that the student council president sets him up for that. She sees what's going on, and so she just rolls with everything. But man, what is it, the vice president, or the one who was in the maid outfit last time, she is really not holding anything back. As soon as Komari stutters a little bit and can't get everything out, she just tries to move on immediately. Maybe she's trying to avoid what inevitably happens, but still, I was like, whoa, man, calm down a little bit. Let her speak. But anyways, to get back on track, Anna comes in clutch, as she has been recently, with the emotional counseling, because it turns out going through all of these experiences has made her into a much wiser person, I guess you could say. And so she basically, counsels Nukumizu on not what to do, but allows him to figure it out himself. It's really Nukumizu's sister who is the one that gets everything rolling when they're walking home, and she allows Nukumizu to put himself in Komari's shoes, at least try to. And so that's where we get the final confrontation on the stairs, when they finally find her after Komari has run away. And, really, it couldn't have been a better confrontation if they had spoken in words. Using texting was the best. I don't know, I loved it. It perfectly aligned with Komari's character. And then Nukumizu, realized right away, and so he responded via text, and it was just fantastic. But this is where Komari, tells her feelings that she doesn't really want to be the club president. Or I think she said it before this, but she didn't want to be the club president, but she felt pressured that she had to. And so now that Nukumizu is taking over the presidency, she will still be able to kind of be in that role, probably as like the vice president or something like that, while Nukumizu does the stuff that she's not good at. Because at the end of the day, Komari is not bad at talking. Like, she talks almost fine to her friends. It's just in public where she gets not frustrated, but where she gets scared and she breaks down. And that's something that can only go away after a long time of practice. So in the meantime, Nukumizu will take that part over. And I think it's implied that Komori will take the writing part over because Nukumizu says, you're basically the reason the club is a literature club anymore because the two senpai have moved on and and everyone else here has their own things going on. And Anna's not writing anything. So Komori is really the only person doing literature club activities aside from Nukumizu, who is also, writing a little bit here and there. And then he does the funniest thing where he basically sends a confession text to her saying, I'll be with you always. And it turns out it was in the group text, so he gets tackled because everyone has been, I guess, reading in this entire time. The final scene of the episode is Komori telling Nukumizu that he has to take responsibility now. And it's really left ambiguous as to whether she is accepting his accidental confession or whether she's just referring to the club. My guess is probably both, but again, it's really hard to tell. And I'm still hoping that he and Anna end up together because I think they are a better fit for a relationship, whereas Komori is a much better fit as a friendship. But then again, they are really good together and they bounce off each other really well. It's really hard to figure it out. I'm really going to be happy with whatever the story decides to go with. But I mean, at the end of the day, right, everything was solved when Komori finally spoke her mind and what she was actually feeling. And then everyone was able to, correct her and say, our relationship is not riding on you being the club president. And, all this was able to be resolved so quickly. And yet it wasn't this entire time because everyone was trying to solve the symptoms of the problem and not the actual problem. Like when they went to the zoo at the start of the episode to try and help Komori calm down and relax. That wasn't the problem because they didn't realize why she was so nervous. They didn't realize why she was pushing herself to do that. So it's like a burn. Putting ice on a burn will solve the symptoms of the problem temporarily, but it won't actually solve the fact that you got burned. You got to put, ointment on that and, a bandage depending on how bad it is and, even go to the hospital maybe. The zoo was the ice, but they didn't realize that they were trying to put ice on a cut and not on a burn, to, I guess, use an analogy. I guess some other minor things I want to mention before I end off this discussion is I really liked, what's her name, Karen, coming to Nukumizu and trying to cheer him up because they talked, I think, last episode or the episode before that? And it seems Anna is actually pretty all right with Karen now because, I mean, from the start of the series, she couldn't stand being around her. And now she's just treating her like normal. So I really like that she's finally moving past her crush or whatever. And you can really see how she's grown this entire season. Nukumizu, I guess, on the other hand, really didn't grow too much except for literally this episode because this episode, it was his episode, I guess you could say. Every other character has had their own problems to deal with their own partners, but he was Komori's partner for this arc. Him and Komori, it really wasn't about Komori's relationship with her senpai. It was about her friendship with him. It was just so good. I liked it so much. Now, unfortunately, we only have one more episode, so I don't know if they're going to fit Anna's story into that, although I have heard that this episode is an anime original, so it's probably just going to be like a side story. Fair enough to end off the season on a lighthearted note because this episode was very heavy. Especially the monologue by Nukumizu at the end where, relationships and friendships, they can't always stay together. But that doesn't mean it's not important to make them anyways. And, well, first I'd say, rich coming from you, Nukumizu, who's fine being alone. But I guess because he's fine being alone, he can accept these kinds of things, whereas someone like Komori cannot. And it's important to support her until she can. Something like that, anyways. Also, one final thing, I really like the zombie senpai actually being kind of a cool person and trying to help Komori during the student council meeting because Nukumizu asked him to. Really good. And of course, one final mention of Anna being an absolute G this episode and constantly counseling everybody. She really took the place of Nukumizu this episode because Nukumizu took the place of the usual heroine, I guess you could say, or the guy. Either way, it doesn't matter. Well, that being said, that's all I really have to say on this episode. I'm really looking forward to finishing up this season, and I'm pretty sure it's been confirmed for a second season. If not, then I'm hallucinating and just hoping too hard. All right, see you in the next one. Bye.